So I didn't plan a skit or anything for this video, so... Colors! Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another video with the Monkey Something Sensei. And on today's episode, I'll be showing off my favorite vinyl pressings in color. These 4 vinyl pressings beside me come from all sorts of decades. We have 70s, we have 80s, we have 90s, and we have the 2000s. We actually have one album from each decade here, which is quite interesting. I did not plan this. And starting off, we're going to go alphabetically here, but very first album showing off is one of the progenitors. One of the earliest examples of heavy metal in the 70s. And I'm talking about this masterpiece, Deep Purple in Rock from 1970. This album right here is one of my personal favorites from the early 70s. This is one of those albums that really helped kickstart British heavy metal, specifically from bands like this, Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep, you know, all those early bands, a little bit of UFO too. Just really kick-ass music. And before I go too deep into the music, I really wanted to show off the vinyl. Now you can see it has a wonderful gatefold. I believe this is reproduced from original 1970. This is a repressing done, I believe, in 2018. From original analog tape. This is actually Abbey Road. Here we go. I'll show you the hype sticker right here. I took it off the gatefold because I took off the photo. But there you go. Got a purple sticker, quite fitting. Now wait till you see the vinyl. Whew, this is a beautiful pressing. On that original Harvest label too, they really put attention to detail. Look at this beautiful purple vinyl. Oh my god. And 180 gram too. Colored vinyl doesn't normally come on 180 gram, but in the past couple years, they've really been doing a great job at upping the gram count while still keeping it colored. So that's always a nice touch. You know, nice and flat. Here's side 2. Again, I love the Harvest label on these. Gorgeous, gorgeous vinyl. Wow, that's amazing. I'm blown away by looking at this. Deep Purple, in Rock, 1970. Ian Gillan, Reggie Blackmore. You have Ian Pace, too. Oh, man. John Lord, rest in peace. What a classic. What a great colored pressing. And what else can I say? It's Deep Purple in Rock. And now moving on to the next album. This record is one of those albums that does not need any introduction. This is another personal favorite of mine. It's from my personal favorite band of all time, Rush. Now, which album is it? If you've had a keen eye on my channel in the past, you might have a good guess as to what it is. But the album in question is Moving Pictures by Rush. Now, this album is a classic. 1981. This is the album that was kind of culminating in the guys ever since Fly By Night. You take the best of the hard rock, mix that with the best of the prog, shorten the songs a little bit, tighten it up, and what you get is a classic early 80s album. This is right before they went a little more in the synthwave direction, synth rock direction, with albums like Signal, The Greatest Under Pressure, but this is the best of both worlds. Now, this is actually my second favorite Rush album. My first favorite is Permanent Waves, which I don't think has ever gotten a colored vinyl reissue. But if they ever do, I would love to see that in gray. So, Rush Backstage, whoever's in charge of that, please make Permanent Waves into a colored LP pressing. That would be amazing. I'd buy that in a heartbeat. Even if it has to be Walmart exclusive, because you can see this is the Walmart exclusive. It is red, opaque red vinyl. This actually sounds better than my 2015 version. That might be because my 2015 version might have some dirt on it. Even with cleaning it, though, I think this still sounds better. And this is the 40th anniversary edition. I don't normally like to buy my records at Walmart, but I think for this I made an exception. Because it does look how beautiful this red is. That's going to be the word of the day, beautiful. I mean, it's just a gorgeous red. Now, on your screen, it might look a little bit darker, but it's actually kind of lighter on my side of things. A little bit of, you know, cat fur on there. But, again, I got 2 cats. One of them's white. It's about to be expected. But what I love about this, the 40th anniversary pressing, is that you have this beautiful center label that looks like the camera eye. That is track 6, I believe, or track 5 on the second side of this. Side 2 starts with the camera eye. One of my personal favorite songs on here. Really good deep cut. And you have that camera eye visual on the center label. And boy, does it look good. And what I love too, that it really helps you differentiate this one from a 2015 reissue or any other kind of reissue or original pressing that you may find out there in the wild. And of course, this album opens with Tom Sawyer, and you get Red Barchetta, YYZ, Limelight, the whole first side's classic. And then, like I was saying earlier, Camera Eye Side 2, Witch Hunt, and then Vital Signs, the song that would really foreshadow their more synthwave leanings going into the future of the 80s. Great songwriting from Neil. The guys are all playing excellently on this one. I don't think I need to tell you guys, especially in the Rush fans community, how amazing this record is and how it deserves all the awards that it gets and more. All right, now moving on to my favorite decade in rock, the 90s. It's not Soundgarden, it's not Nirvana, it's not Pearl Jam, it's not Alice in Chains, it's none of the big four of grunge. And in fact, this is an album I've not talked about on the channel at all. I've not shown it off. I've not even discussed it in any capacity. So I figured, what better time than now to talk about one of my favorite albums of the 90s, Purple from Stone Temple Pilots. This is STP's second album, and don't let the silly cover fool you. This is still a heavy, grungy album. Even looking at the back, you have this cool little birthday cake with the message saying 12 gracious melodies. Now, if you have a keen eye and you look at the track listing either on a CD or on the liner notes, or if you're on Spotify, you'll see only 11 songs. That's because there's a hidden bonus track on here, which is called My Second Album, which is this little funny kind of Frank Sinatra little pop ditty. It's different. It's pretty cool. I think it's kind of a nice way to end the album. But this album is a great record. Let me flip it over for you guys. Again, weird-ass album cover. I'm not going to lie, but this is the 90s, a weird time, but man, did it have some excellent music. I lost the sticker. The sticker's gone. I must have thrown it out or something. But this is, I believe, called Blue Splatter Vinyl. And again, a nice, gorgeous pressing. I love the splatter in the middle. And one thing about colored vinyl I find interesting, too, is that it never looks the same twice. There's always a little bit of a drop here, drop there, depending on which one you have. It's like, they're like snowflakes. They're all unique in their own way. And I think it's interesting to compare vinyl pressings, especially the ones that have splatter colors. It's just like it's your very own unique copy. It's like the White Album from the Beatles. You could buy any number of White Albums and you'll still have one that's different, because each White Album has its own dings and bends, and you know, if you buy an older copy, you might have a certain amount of ring wear. So it's kind of the same thing here, but in a more like modern capacity. I love the Atlantic label on this. Very classic. I think it might have been a little bit modernized, but I'm not sure, but still looks great. And when it comes to grunge bands, I often find that their second album is usually their best. Look at Nirvana. Never mind, their second album, their best record, and one of the best albums of all time. Look at Soundgarden. Arguably, either you say Bad Motorfinger or Super Unknown. In either case, either way, two of the best albums of the 90s. Pearl Jam. You could argue that 10 is the better record, but I think that Versus is the better of the two. In my opinion, I like Versus more than 10. Very close. So you can see where I'm coming from here. And this is no different with STP. Their second album is just fantastic. It carries over some of the grunge from Core, their first album. But it kind of fine-tunes it. And they make the grunge sound their own on this release. Interstate Love Song. Now, I've heard some people say the song is overplayed. And it probably is. But no lie, Interstate Love Song is one of my favorite songs of all time. I love the harmonic vocals for the chorus. It's just beautiful. And just that overall riff and the atmosphere of this song is so magical. It really takes you to the 90s. And this was 94, so I was only about a year old when this album came out. But man, if I could go back and see the 90s, this song, it makes me feel so nostalgic for an earlier era, even though I wasn't there. It's one of those songs that really places you in the time period in which it was released. All right, now my last pick, I'm not going to spend too much time on because I've already talked about this album in like 3 or 4 videos. But because of the colored press, and I love this album, I have to talk about it. And without even getting into semantics, it does look infected. There you go, it does look infected. Shiny cover, shiny back cover. You know, one of my favorite albums of all time, like in my top 3. is up there with Green Day's Nimrod or Incubus's Make Yourself as like one of my favorite records of all time, or Moving Pictures or Permanent Waves like I talked about earlier. Again, this is that beautiful khaki green. Now, the only problem with this is I might have gotten the wrong version. But again, I don't really care because this just sounds super good. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful pressing again. And I love the splatter. Even get the splatter on the center label here. Center label looks great. This is an album that I can just put on the turntable if I don't know what I want to listen to. Or if I'm unsure, like what do I want to listen to? Like, what am I in the mood for? This is an all-mood kind of album. You have dark songs on here. You have uplifting songs on here. You have fast, heavy songs. And this is the album that I really feel like Sum 41 started to get really excellent. Starting from this album and going forward. I love their EP, Half Hour of Power, which actually just got a re-release on audiophile vinyl. Shout out to Roland Records. I was browsing their website and I saw that. I'm like, oh, okay, I might have to buy that now. Audiophile, music on vinyl, which they always put out good products. So if I buy that, be on the lookout for a review and unboxing of that because that's going to be epic. The album really shows a mature tone for the Sums. Before this, they were messing around with pop punk and they had some metal influence. But this is really when they took the pop punk and the metal and they just melded it together into one perfect melting pot of badassery. All right, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you can, give the video a like. A thumbs up really helps the channel. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Help to get the video in rotation. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more swinging content. And hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video to the channel. And don't forget, listen to Rush. And also, make sure to keep meditating with vinyl.